Hi, thank you for joining me. Today, I want to take a look at the inside workings of the narcissistic temper tantrum, the anger, rage, and what that does to the child watching. If you like my content, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. When a child is developing, they throw tantrums, cry out, and need a lot of attention. It's their way of asking to be seen and heard as they haven't learned how to communicate effectively yet. And this is normal behavior. When being raised by a narcissist, this child usually is dismissed, devalued. There is very little patience for them, and they are treated as inconvenient. Growing up, they may be told, "You're too sensitive, you're worthless," being pushed away. But when the narcissist wants to be seen, the entire house will hear about it and will have no choice but to give them attention. When a narcissist has their raging fits, it's as though they're stuck in a child mindset, throwing a temper tantrum, but on a much worse scale. In childhood, they were usually either excessively praised or they have an entitled story that says, "I was abused and mistreated as a child. I am the one that suffers the most, and so you need to make me feel better." Which is like trying to fill a black hole because it's never enough, and they tend to analyze your behavior with resentment. Everyone has gone through trauma. It's when they use that trauma to abuse and manipulate, projecting it onto the people around them with a sense of, "You owe this to me," is when it becomes a massive problem. This is emotional abuse. They see life through a warped perception of depending on other people to fulfill their need of being important. Parental fighting in the house becomes a common occurrence. They don't communicate effectively or express their feelings in a way that would be helpful to resolving the issue. They use a selfish rage, creating havoc, which sends children into find a place to hide mode. They use their behavior to punish, judge, and control the other's actions as they are wanting you to fulfill their need of superiority and feelings of not being good enough. Doing this by requiring your submissive behavior. Their tantrums can involve physical abuse, threatening violence, throwing objects, tossing furniture like couches and mattresses, punching holes in walls, hateful name-calling, threatening divorce, and so on. There's something terrifying in the eyes of a narcissist as they tend to hold this piercing hate and resentment look that blames you for everything that has gone wrong in their lives, as though you are the source of all of their problems. And they can create all of this turmoil while making themselves the victim. They are masters at manipulation, enforcing obedience through fear and rejection. Another way they express anger is by the hostile silent treatment. This is effective at causing suffering, showing their disapproval, raising their self-esteem and feeling of being superior. I'm not talking about a couple that needs to take time to breathe so that they can come back together in a healthy way. The narcissist is doing this intentionally to hurt, shame, and guilt the other person. The person being attacked might apologize for something they didn't do to try to stop the abuse and resolve the argument. This will likely continue to repeat the cycle as the narcissist is getting what they want. This silent treatment also will usually turn into a raging tantrum eventually, using guilt-tripping, blame, and shaming as their weapons of choice for control. When a narcissist has an opinion or thinks a certain way, even if it's imagined, for example, they accuse you of doing something you didn't do, they tend to never admit that they are wrong or even compromise that maybe it's possible they misunderstood the situation, as their perception of life is warped. Being accused of things I didn't do has been a common theme throughout my life. And what it does is it puts you on the defensive. They see you scrambling to deny this for them, which gives them a feeling of importance, all while making you feel like shit. After the raging temper tantrum is over, they usually don't apologize or say, "I shouldn't have treated you that way," or "I was really out of line." These words are usually never spoken because they are unable to take responsibility. They don't recognize their own contribution to the problem. If the narcissist does apologize, it's usually because they need to bring you back in as they have pushed you too far, still trying to control the situation to get what they want. Having empathy and genuine remorse isn't within their ability, as they will continue to repeat these raging patterns over and over. Another thing that the narcissist may do is when the rage is over, they'll have this entitlement and can go back to normal life as though it never happened. I would see my parents in a raging, angry, yelling, hateful fight, and when the phone rang, they answered it with the nicest tone of voice. The person on the other end would never know anything was wrong. They need to look good to the public as this is priority, all while your feelings, thoughts, and needs don't have any importance to them. Your purpose in their life is for their supply, their needs. A narcissist will have these raging tantrums fairly often because they can't go long periods of time without this special attention. Negative attention is better for them than no attention at all, and they must win, even if it's damaging the family relationships. They tend to be intuitive as they overanalyze you, your every word of a conversation, your facial expressions, what makes you sad, happy, as a means of reading you to control you. Also, they can control their own actions to get a specific outcome. In turn, you're walking on eggshells because they are easily triggered. The narcissist's goal is to strip away self-worth, independence, and self-love the other person has for themselves. One, because they are jealous of it, and secondly, the more it's stripped away, the easier it is for them to control you. It is extremely dysfunctional for children to grow up in these types of households, this becoming their normal way of life. The anger is extremely scary for the child, and they soon learn to fall in line. They want to be loved and accepted by their parents so badly, and seeing their parent look at them with hate in their eyes or having an attitude that they are inconvenient is too painful, and they want to avoid it at all costs. They can become quiet, withdrawn, and they start the lifelong journey of feeling unworthy, unloved, and angry. As the child gets older, those feelings turn into actual deep-seated beliefs that follow them into adulthood. An important thing to remember in the healing from this is that you developed these beliefs trying to survive, to avoid the hate, resentment, and anger as much as you possibly could. Recognize this with a deep mindfulness, catching yourself when you're still holding on to this belief system as an adult. Know that it's not true and it never was true. You were a child that was beat down by someone who was incapable of showing you empathy, love, and equality while trying to fulfill their own needs of superiority and self-worth. See your parent as a hurt child that was never able to develop and grow up into a happy, healthy adult, and this is a mental health disorder. Know that their judgments, accusations, hate, and anger was never actually about you. It never had anything to do with you and who you are. Most likely, they saw something beautiful in you, like your genuine kindness, genuine love, and vulnerability, and they were jealous of it because it's something they don't have. What you were experiencing was the turmoil that was sitting within them. They were unable to control it and projected it onto you for their survival. In no way does that make any of it okay. Setting up strong, healthy boundaries or even no contact at all may be what's needed to give yourself a healthier life. Working with your inner wounded child, becoming your own parent, is important in healing. If you were your own loving, healthy parent, what would you want for yourself? Release yourself from the accusations of not being good enough. Let go of the burden of trying to make your parents happy and the burden of protecting them. Step out from under that dark shadow you carry and step into the light, your light of who you truly are outside of the judgments that have been used against you. Honor yourself for the courage it takes to walk down this path. Please leave a comment if you feel called to do so. Also, you can let me know if there's something specific you would like me to talk about. I hope this helps. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I love you all.